Welcome back to Hunt Hard Outdoors. I am Brett Thorne. Today is Friday, September the 20th, and I am currently on 36 Highway heading west, back out to the beloved Rockies. On my way out to Colorado for the final week of their archery elk season. I'm going out by myself this year. Everybody else had other things going on, couldn't make the trip, so it's just me. Going out to an area that we hunted once a couple of years ago down south around Pagosa. Don't know that I feel we gave it a good justice. I think we had a good hunt out there, got into some elk, definitely had a good time. Want to get out there and see a little more country, give it another try. I think there's some opportunity there. I will say one thing about that area, though. That is probably the one area that we had more bear encounters than I've ever had. So, with that, somebody has a bear tag in their pocket along this hunt. This guy. So yeah, I picked up one of the over-the-counter limited number bear tags. Gonna have that to go right along with my over-the-counter elk tag, and hopefully be able to have some opportunities to let some sticks fly this week. Got a lot of driving ahead of me. Only been on the road a couple hours, so I'll be checking in soon. Stay tuned. Up here to the trailhead. Got me a little spot here set up. Gonna spend the night here. Got my bow sighted in, or actually just shot. Make sure everything's dialed, ready for morning. Got my pack all ready to go. Gonna get a good night's rest. Get some food here pretty quick. Get up early, hit the trail well before daybreak, and pack in. Got probably 2, maybe 3 days worth of food and water, so I can get back in there and hopefully stay for a couple days. Hopefully that'll give me enough time to locate some elk and see what we got going on. But all here, all ready, just waiting for the hours to count down. We'll check in with you soon. Okay, so here we are. It is day 1 of the hunt. It's going on 3 in the afternoon. I got started hit the trail about 3:30 this morning. Actually, if you look down there, I started way down there. Came all the way up around all these bluffs and stuff up the trail. And then there's a drainage in behind me here. Worked my way up the drainage. Just got here a little bit ago. Obviously, I had multiple breaks throughout the day, including lunch. Been pretty disappointed with the sign so far. Well, last time I was up here in this area, we had a lot of fresh sign and even got into some elk, but haven't seen anything fresh, real fresh. And I didn't hear any bugles at all this morning. I was up on the trail. I was up at 2:30 on the trail by 3:30, and I even got up about midnight at one point, and I haven't heard a single bugle yet. So this time of year, I kind of expected we'd hear a little bit of activity, but hopefully it gets better from here. If not, we'll be relocating and finding a new spot. I'll check in with you soon. All right, so here it is, day 2. Got up this morning, kept working around the ridge, came to a backside drainage. Actually had quite a few elk bugling down there. Went down in after them. Saw, I think, 5 for sure that I saw, different ones, a couple spikes, 1 mature bull. The other 2, not sure what they were. Came back up, dropped the pack up high. So I'm trying to figure out a plan if I'm gonna get set up a camp and work back down in there tonight, try to hunt them, or try to hunt them in the morning. Gotta find some water though, getting a little low on that, so definitely that'll be a must, what I do, regardless of what I do. I'll keep you posted. Last night, I overnighted on the front side of the drainage, up and over the ridge from the elk to stay out of scent's way. I was up early this morning, as were the elk. Grabbed my bow, bugle tube, and kill kit, and clocked in as it was time to get to work. All right, guys, I'm back with you. It's day 3 of the hunt, Tuesday, September the 24th, 11 minutes after 3 o'clock. Got there. It was what we like to call in the industry a sign of victory. Tagged in with a bull this morning, hit him about 9:30, called him in to just inside of 35 yards. One arrow, perfect placement, great heart shot, nice and low, made easy for a blood trail. Bottom third of the body, just perfect. He ran, I don't know, 150, maybe 200 yards. I can check my tracks on my blood trail. It wasn't very far at all, though. Curled up and died. I had him in my hands by 11 o'clock and got to work on him. Here I just finished up. All the meat's hanging, the head's pulled off, everything's ready to go. It's going to set overnight. I'm going to pack up out of here. I got myself in a nice little hole, but of course that's where the elk like to be. So I'm going to get up. Camp's already packed up. It's up top of the hill. Get it. I'm going to head back to the vehicle, regroup, get fed. I'm running low on water, get some hydration, and then start back in tomorrow, packing back up. I'm guessing it's going to take me about 2 days to get it out. It's going to take me about a day to get it up top of the hill and then another day to get it all down to the truck. So that's my plan as of now. I'm going to leapfrog it up, spend tomorrow getting it all to the top of the hill, and spend the rest of the day, or the next day, getting it down to the Jeep. So that's where we are. We're in the money here in Colorado this year. I'll check in with you soon. All right, here we are. It is day 7 of the hunt, day 8 of the trip, and I am in the last lap. As you can see, I got the hardware on my back, and I am within a half a mile of the trailhead. I can't begin to tell you and explain to you how tough and challenging this trip has been, but how unbelievably rewarding it is. You know, for me, something like this is kind of like a rite of passage. I know that's maybe a little soap opera dramatic, but to go out there on a DIY hunt, over-the-counter tag, public ground, and to get in there and get it done during archery season and to harvest a mature animal has just been a goal of mine for years. Something I've wanted to do for a long time. And not just go out there and shoot something nice, but to go out there and actually be in there with the elk, find where they're at, work them, call them in, and harvest a nice mature animal. And that's exactly what I did. I mean, this just magnificent creature. I mean, just a majestic and very elusive species. You know, and it's not like this is definitely not a trip that was just one and done kind of deal. I've been running around these hills for years with a stick and string in my hands trying to make this happen, and it's been a long time coming. Matter of fact, I can write a pretty good novel on how to not kill elk. That's definitely something I've gotten good at over the years, but luckily I've put that chapter to an end and started a new chapter. You know, to kind of recap my hunt a little bit, got up to the trailhead. That was my travel day, I guess. That afternoon, I just kind of got my bow out, got the target out, threw some arrows, just made sure everything was dialed in, ready to go, got a good night's rest. So day 1 of the hunt, I got up early. I was on the trail at 3:30, had enough in my pack that I could be just fine for multiple days up in the hills, and I just pointed the direction upward and started going. By sunrise, about 6:30, I was in an area where I wanted to be and ready to start hunting. On my way up to the ridge that first day, pretty slow day, wasn't seeing sign, obviously didn't see any elk, didn't have any activity. Day 2, got up, started circling around, working the ridge around, just calling down into the drainages. And as I was working around, going through a saddle, going from one ridge to the second, kind of looked off over into the backside drainage. Anybody that's been up here knows exactly what I'm talking about. That backside drainage, I mean, it is just deep, it's dark, it's nasty, and it's elky. And I had to think about it, and I mean, I stood there and looked and thought and tried to look at it on my phone on the Onyx. Of course, it was hard to see with the topo lines. I mean, they were just so close together, just like a solid image. But take those off and you can kind of see the contours a little bit. But boy, you know what it's like. Stand up there and look down and just think to yourself, man, there's, I'm sure, elk down in there, but how do I ever get them out? Well, and you kind of second guess, should I not? I didn't even have to blow on the horn. Within 15 minutes, there were elk just going to town down there. It was full on rut. So, made the hard choice, dropped the pack and grabbed what I needed and barreled off over in there. That was day 2 Monday. Actually got in on some activity, saw a couple spikes, saw a few cows, called in a bull, looked to be a good mature bull, got him into about 58 yards. And he was just hammering a tree, and that tree was just shaking. I ranged it, it was 58 yards away. Now, I needed him to come right on up out of the little hole right up on the ledge that he was below. I call it ledge, it wasn't much, it was just a little terrace. And if he would have been up there, he would have been 45 and inside. And I thought surely he was going to make it up. Well, he didn't. All I saw was some horns, nice branch antler horns, going down through the trees, headed back the direction he came. So I immediately jumped on his tail, tried to get on him, but he gathered up his herd and he headed on down, went on down to private ground. On down the drainage, it was far enough there, you got to some private ground. Well, so I kind of licked my wounds, backed out, got back up on top, took a good amount of time to get up there. I got back up on top, took a little bit of time, sat down, licked my wounds, ate lunch, kind of figured out my plan, tried to decide what I wanted to do. A little rain started coming in. Well, after I got back up there, I started to hear more elk down there. I mean, it was just hot and heavy down in that drainage. So I decided, well, with a little rain coming in, I knew I was running a little low on water, but definitely had some food, had a shelter and everything. So I'm gonna go get my shelter set up, get all my gear under it so it at least stays dry. And I'm gonna barrel off back down in there. There's multiple drainages, big drainage and multiple fingers that came off from the other side. I thought surely there'd be some water down there. Raining good, even the runoff would probably get me something. So I got down there, had no luck with the elk. It seemed they'd all moved on down the drainage. Either that or shut up. Couldn't find anything that afternoon. Hear them just a little bit, but hear the ones down on the private some. Couldn't find any water either, and that's the unfortunate part. So, again, tail between the legs, headed right back on up the mountain. Got up there and had my camp already set up, so I just rationed my water out and ate some food, ate my solid foods that didn't need water, got a good night's rest. Day 3, got up, got camp packed up, and I had actually come over the back side of the saddle there, so that way my scent wasn't drifting down after 3 days up in the hills. It was getting pretty strong. So my scent wasn't drifting down. So I got up and I packed up camp, headed back up into the saddle, and sure enough, they were right back at it. They'd been going at it all night. I'd heard some bugles through the night, but man, it was hot and heavy again, and I could tell there was some activity right there on the public side of the ground. So again, dropped my gear, grabbed everything I needed, and started barreling off over in there. Well, it didn't take long, and I finally got in on a bull. He was talking. I didn't even have to make any sound. I think I got probably within 150 yards, maybe 100 of him. Threw out a couple cow calls. He answered. As soon as he did, I just cut him off and hammered right over the top of him. Nothing happened, kind of sat there for a little bit, grabbed a big stick, grabbed a big tree that was barky and just started raking and scraping and breaking some branches and making a lot of activity. He bugled once, I let it go, kind of sat and waited, nothing happened. Then I started in on the cow call again. Just a couple nice little soft cow calls, and he bugled. And again, I cut him off and just went right over the top of him, just as mean and nasty as I could get. And that's all it took. Here I could hear him coming up through the brush, and he was coming pretty hot. He came in, and boy, he came up through, and he was looking. He bugled once, and man, he stepped up onto a plateau right down below me. 35 yards was the tree behind him that I had ranged, so I was guessing he was around 32. He was staring right at me. I mean, amazing how he knew exactly where that sound came from, and he was looking for an elk. And I mean, he was staring right through me. I didn't move. I was down on a knee. He was staring right through me because he knew there should have been an elk right there. Finally, he made the turn, broadside, just a touch quartered away. And I had a gap between the trees that I knew I could thread, and his head was behind trees. So I drew back, and I put my 30-yard pin on him, and I let him have it. And I can tell you this, Ray David with Camp David Outfitters, you would be proud of me. I put that thing in the money in the lower third of the body. And I can tell you, if I've heard him say it once, I've heard him say it 100 times. Shoot them in the lower third. It's a big animal. They can move fast and cover a lot of ground. He said, you shoot them high, and those things can be going for miles before they ever start losing a lot of blood, because they can cover some ground in just a short amount of time, especially even if you've got a good shot. When they're going on adrenaline, they can move and they can really cover some ground. And if that cavity's got to fill up before it starts coming out that entry or exit wound, it can be a long time before blood's on the ground. So there you go, Ray David. You taught me something well there. That is a man that is speaks with experience and a lot of knowledge. Well, I immediately jumped down. Sure enough, I had blood right away. So I got on it nice and easy, worked the way down, and within an hour and a half, I was on him. Now, he didn't go 150 yards. I took it nice and slow just because I knew I had a good shot. I knew I had blood, but I had seen the arrow sticking out, so I knew I didn't have a complete pass-through. Matter of fact, that touch quarter way, I punctured in there. I hit the backside shoulder. Just, it's beautiful. I mean, that arrowhead just all jammed up. Kind of nice, actually. You got the broadhead that stays in there, so as he's moving, that thing's just in there grinding, just continuing to do damage. Didn't have to do much. He didn't go very far. So there it was. I was on him by 11 o'clock, and then it was work from there out. Spent, the next 4 hours getting him all bagged up, packaged up, ready to go. Came back up, got camp, headed back down. So that was day 3. Day 4, 5, 6, and here we are, 7, which it's a little before 1 o'clock, has been nothing but hauling meat. I mean, that is the kind of work and pain I'm talking about. And I've done it nonstop, anywhere from 10 to 12 hours a day, every day. But that's all part of it. If you want to get in there, you want to kill elk, you got to go where the elk are. I mean, in a hunt like this. I mean, again, this was the reward for me, is to go out there and get onto public ground. Do it with a over-the-counter tag, a DIY hunt, and I even did it solo this year. That is the reward for me. That is something that, it's done all the time. Guys do it every year, but I wanted to be one of those guys, and now I am. And this has just been a great feeling, despite all the pain, despite the blistered feet, despite the sore back. I mean, everything is good. I can't be happier. And I'm not going to sit here and blow a bunch of wind. I'm not going to sit here and blow a bunch of wind checker up your arse and tell you I'm some kind of fitness freak and that I take the skin off chicken and I shoot my bow 365 days out of the year, because that's just not true. But I do stay in fairly good shape. I eat somewhat healthy. I will admit that pizza and vanilla ice cream are definitely my kryptonite. And I usually try to get the bow out and dust it off somewhere late spring, early summer, and I do shoot all the way through season. With that being said, I mean, all the work that's put in, I mean, you can't imagine the reward and the sense of achievement I have right now for what I've done. I'm so happy. I mean, this is just one of the things that'll always be with me, and it'll always be a great story. It's been an amazing adventure. Appreciate you coming along with me. And remember, hunt hard or just stay in bed.